Adults behaving badly, a security scare at a school targeted by right-wing groups, and a children's museum shut down by anti-maskers. The governor gets chewed out by prosecutors of both parties who say his commutation for the I-70 trucker hurt faith in the judicial system. Boulder had been warned about the underground fire that might have caused the Marshall Fire, warned that the winds would blow trouble right toward town. And we remember a Coloradan who fiercely loved his family, his friends, and his country. It's the best and worst of humanity. Next. Prosecutors quietly let Governor Polis have it after he commuted the sentence of the I-70 truck driver who killed 4 people. We knew that the governor had gone against the wishes of victims' families. We know that the governor refuses to say whether he talked to the celebrity Kim Kardashian West about it. And now we know that 2 DAs, one Republican and one of Polis's fellow Democrats, told him that his decision to intervene before the court settled it undermined the public faith in the judicial system. We know this because Marshall Zellinger got his hands on the letter.
We are writing this letter to express our concerns about the process, timing, and manner in which you commuted the sentence of Rohel Aguilera Medeiros. That's how this 5-page letter begins, written by Democratic Boulder County DA Michael Doherty and Republican Mesa County DA Dan Rubenstein. It's about Democratic Governor Jared Polis commuting the sentence for Aguilera Medeiros to 10 years, after a judge sentenced him to the required 110 years for killing 4 in a semi-crash on I-70 in 2019. Polis commuted the sentence 2 weeks before a judge was considering a motion to reduce it through the courts. Our greatest concern is that you chose to intervene in a pending case, they wrote, thereby undermining the integrity and confidence that Coloradans place in the justice system. At the end of the letter, the Boulder DA references a plea offer in a case of a family member accused of sexually assaulting a little girl. The DA writes that the 8-year plea is being called excessive by the defense attorney because the governor gave 10 years to Aguilera Medeiros, whose semi-truck crash killed 4. The DAs conclude their letter by saying, by acting when and how you did, you undercut the community's trust in the DA of Jefferson County and the justice system of our entire state. Kyle, these DAs work on the Sentencing Reform Task Force, and they're concerned that the commutation will call those efforts into question. I got a late statement from the governor about this letter. He uses the term bizarre twice, calling it that it was a bizarre sentence, and that there was clearly an urgency to remedy it, and he defends it by saying people were calling for a full commutation or pardon, but instead he's still getting 10 years.
Marshall, the governor had said to us that the reason he intervened was to stop the circus around this one case, but those DAs in the letter suggest that the governor has now created circuses in other cases.
Yeah, I'm going to need to find the file of that Boulder case where a defense attorney for that sexual assault case is saying the person accused of that crime isn't going to be satisfied with an 8-year plea deal because someone got 10 where people died. If that's happening in other counties, then there's some credence to the DA's concern that had the governor let the judge change the sentence through the courts, and then even after that, if the governor wasn't happy, he could come in and commute it even more to the sentence he preferred, but we'll never know because he acted 2 weeks before the judge could do that through the courts.
Marshall Zellinger, good work getting that letter. It's the only way the public knows. Thank you. The Children's Museum of Denver is temporarily closing because of angry outbursts by anti-maskers. That museum is going to take a few days closed to the public to support its staff and figure out better ways for them to deal with adults who are behaving like petulant children. The Children's Museum made this announcement today on their website. They apologized to everyone who's in there acting civilized, and they revealed that, quote, some guests who object to the museum's mask policy have been inappropriately directing their anger toward our staff. Children's Museum plans to stay closed through next week. There's been a security incident at an elementary school in Denver that has been the target of Fox News Channel and some conservative groups. DPS says a man upset over critical race theory tricked his way into Centennial Elementary School recently and began shouting at staff and parents. Right-wing groups have latched on to Centennial Elementary with nationwide coverage because of the fact that Centennial is taking part in a Black Lives Matter event. Steve Steger talked with the principal, who is getting a stream of racist rants, many they believe from out of state.
I'm really proud of the school and the work that they're doing to promote equity. Centennial Elementary is about to take part in a national program called Black Lives Matter at School Action Week. Starting next week, for the second year in a row, the school will teach age-appropriate lessons centered around the 13 guiding principles of the Black Lives Matter movement, things like empathy and recognizing diversity. Dr. Tony Smith is the Chief Equity and Engagement Officer for the district.
So equity is a part of what we do. It's a tenet, it's a value, and we will continue to do this across all schools. This is not a Centennial issue.
But Centennial's decision to teach this made it to Fox News over the weekend, then spilled out to other conservative websites. And Monday, the school sent a letter home saying a man lied about wanting to register his kids for school, gained access to the building, and verbally abused parents and staff both inside and outside as he protested. The letter from the school also told parents about a series of troubling emails sent to the school from people around the country. DPS released some of them to us today. They're filled with racial and misogynistic diatribes aimed at Centennial Elementary's leadership.
We are committed to equity in all its forms, whether it's Black Lives Matter, LGBTQIA, or whether it's language, whatever it is, we're committed to equity. And this doesn't scare us. It helps us double down on our efforts to promote that.
Dr. Smith says the district won't let threats get in the way.
DPS is committed to making sure that our kids can thrive in this world. And this is a multicultural world, committed to racial and educational equity. And because people don't like it, doesn't mean we stop doing it.
DPS says its securities team responded to the incident with the man who gained access yesterday. What they haven't been able to tell me is if they will seek charges against that man for pretending to be a parent to try to gain access to the school. The Denver Police Department tells me they're working with DPS, but the district hasn't filed a police report yet, Kyle.
Steve, this is not the first time that Fox News Channel and associated groups have whipped up anger at Centennial Elementary.
Yeah. Last month, Centennial Elementary had something on their marquee out front about a playground night specifically for families of color. Now, the school says that that was meant for everyone, but it was specifically meant to promote more families of color to come out and spend time on the playground. People took photos of that, sent it to the conservative outlets, and they've been sharing that widely.
Steve Sager, thank you very much. Speaking of schools, tonight down in Douglas County, the newly elected conservative school board majority is expected to roll back the diversity, equity, and inclusion policies of the progressive board that they defeated. They're meeting now with plans to vote on a resolution called Culture of Individual Excellence and Inclusion. This standard basically says that slavery and segregation are bad, but that the United States is a beacon for freedom and equality of opportunity. The board's directive is likely to say that the curriculum should feature both of those ideas in balance. The year is 2022, and there are some employers who still need a reminder that women who are breastfeeding need time to pump at work. This realization is going to cost one employer, the city of Denver, $250,000. This is the case in question. Payouts going to a deputy, Lauren Flores, who works at the downtown jail. She said supervisors would leave her waiting 30 minutes or more for breaks to go pump, to the point that sometimes she was leaking breast milk through her uniform by the time somebody came to relieve her. The deputy said that she asked her supervisor, Major Jody Blair, if she could move to a different post so that she could be relieved more easily to go pump breast milk. Deputy Flores says she was denied that, and apparently the major said that none of this ever happened. Well, fast forward to the conclusion, Deputy Flores is getting $250,000 in a settlement, and the major no longer works there.
We're at Fort Logan Cemetery on this beautiful winter day, celebrating my best friend, Mac.
We remember a man we met here on Next who was unbelievably dedicated to his wife and his country. And one of the governor's picks to regulate livestock trashed ranchers. She promptly got chased out of her position. Next. State engineers have been warning for years that a long-simmering underground coal seam fire in Boulder County was an imminent threat to start surface fires. That coal fire is now being looked at as one potential source of the devastating Marshall Fire. State engineer reports found by our 9 Wants to Know team indicate that engineers wanted a federal emergency declaration for that area off Marshall Road and Highway 93. And they knew that the underground fire had caused a small surface fire in 2005. They also noted that the strong winds there blow towards houses, towards populated areas. They urged the city of Boulder, which owns that property, to come up with a plan to monitor and maintain the area. So gravel was brought in to cover up 3 thin spots where the coal seam fire was closer to the surface. But they knew that that was only a Band-Aid. Investigators continue their work to pinpoint the cause of the Marshall Fire. In addition to the coal seam, they're also looking at the possibility of downed power lines and also a shed fire on a property owned by a religious group.
It is clear and cold here in the 9 backyard, but it was a snowy start to the day. How about that storm? Certainly delivering across the eastern plains with more than 2 feet of snow up into the foothills, closer to about 8.5, and out at DIA officially 5 inches, making our grand total 10.6 inches, our snowiest January here in Denver since 2014. Our system now impacting Kansas. A few lingering flurries going across HD Doppler 9 tonight, but as this storm system moves out, we get a brief break before another round rolls in on Thursday. Let's time it out. Early on your Wednesday morning, there's that sunshine. It really should be a beautiful day. Some increasing clouds tomorrow, and then here comes the snow bright and early Thursday morning. Right now, snowfall amounts look like 1 to 3 here in Denver, 2 to 4 across the suburbs. Daytime highs tomorrow back to the upper 30s, low 40s, and look at this 7-day forecast. After Thursday's snow, the heat and the sunshine back for the weekend.
Colorado's farmers and ranchers are dealing with a lot these days, from the drought to backups in meat processing to now some sporadic wolf attacks on livestock. But face it, Colorado's farmers and ranchers, the people who grow and raise our food, are anything but lazy. When one of the governor's appointees to a regulatory board suggested otherwise, she heard about that in a big way. Ellen Kessler was the governor's appointee to the state veterinary board. She's an animal rights activist, and she's also a friend of the governor's husband, Marlon Reese. Conservatives in rural Colorado have wanted Kessler off this board for some time now. In a Facebook, she called farmers and ranchers lazy and nasty. She accused them of using cows as bait to get wolves to attack so that they could receive compensation. Ag leaders and Republicans in the state legislature called for the governor to fire Kessler. She quit instead. The former visiting scholar at CU, who drew up President Trump's plan to overturn American democracy, is getting a bit of scrutiny for those actions these days. But CU says that investigators have not yet come knocking at their door trying to get John Eastman's records. Eastman's the guy who wrote the memo on how Republicans could overturn the election and keep President Trump in power. Eastman's been subpoenaed by the House Select Committee investigating the insurrection at the Capitol. The committee has also subpoenaed Eastman's emails from his other university employer, Chapman University. If Eastman was plotting the coup from a cu.edu email address, we're not going to find out right away. CU Boulder told us today they have not received a subpoena. Mac Macclure loved 2 things more than anything. One was the country he served.
He would go out, and if the flag wasn't just right on certain days, he'd put on his uniform and go out and ask them to reset the flag.
Mac's other great love was a woman. We remember a man who kept his promises. Next. Mac Macclure is one of the most unforgettable people we have ever met here. Mac and his wife Betty had really only been apart twice in their 7 decades together. The years that he was fighting in World War II, and then when we went with him on an honor flight to Washington in 2017. Betty passed away the following year, and Mac died earlier this month at the age of 99. His family asked if we would bring you to his service.
We're at Fort Logan Cemetery on this beautiful winter day celebrating my best friend Mac. He passed away on New Year's Day.
Mac Macclure was a man who kept his promises. He made one to his country.
He went to the war when he was 17. He landed on Omaha. I think it was 36 men in his platoon, and only 3 men came out alive out of that.
Mac's promises were for life.
Thank you for your service, Macclure. Welcome to D.C.
World War II vet, and he loved his country.
Isn't that great? All them signs, all these people out here, I can't believe that.
Mac made a promise to Betty before the war. He came home, they got married.
Hello.
Hi, sweetheart.
Hi. Are you having a good time?
It was 4 years apart, then more than 70 years together.
I took care of Betty in the nursing home. I was the activity director there.
Mary Stepanek came along late in the lives of Mac and Betty Macclure, but she knew what meant the most.
Before she passed, I promised her that whenever something happened to her, that I would take care of Mac.
What did Mac mean to you?
Everything. Very close friend. I admired him so much.
New Year's Day, Mary got the call.
The day that he passed, they called me and told me that he wasn't doing well. The weather was bad, worse than this. About 10:30, I went and told him, I whispered in his ear and told him that I was leaving, but I'd be right back because I was just running home to check on my husband, and I'd be right back. And I started out the door through the gate, and I slipped and fell and broke my foot and didn't get to make it back to him before he passed. And that was the hardest thing because I promised him I would be with him all the way up till the end. That's the hardest thing because I promised him I'd be with him forever. But I think he knew I was. I know he knows I was there.
On behalf of the President of the United States.
They gathered here today, this beautiful winter day, to remember Mac Macclure.
I know he's there watching. I know he is.
A soldier, a husband, a friend.
Yep, he's with me.
A man who kept his promises. It's a sign. Colorado's welcoming spirit is sometimes hanging by a thread. Photojournalist Chris Hansen was up at the Wyoming border Monday when he noticed the Welcome to Colorful Colorado sign was having a tough time. It's Highway 125 north of Cowdrey. CDOT's got their hands full with the snowstorm and all, but we gave them a heads up and they promised to go out and remount the sign. This is where another station's promo would shout at you, "We get results!" Hey, feedback from Monique, who says, regardless of your position on masks, no one should berate employees. They don't make the rules for establishments. We're 2 years into this, and people still think being mean to employees is the way to go. Maria says, hey, shouldn't you be out of quarantine by now? I hoped. I'm waiting on one last test. Tomorrow?